Hello, everybody. We're going to introduce oStar as our new subscription. It's the first time we're giving circadian guidance in the app, and we'll be using our iPad today, which I guess you all can't see. Hello, everybody. We're going to introduce oStar today. It's the first time we're giving circadian guidance within the app, so it's pretty exciting. I have with me today Sophia and Chloe.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Can we fix the framing of it just a little bit?
Also, I
Please,
It's like
go
uneven, right?
fix it, and then we just have to go with it, guys.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is the Owaves team. We're introducing oStar. I have with me Sophia and Chloe. They're brand ambassadors here at UC San Diego, helping us make this relevant for students. So, oStar, what is it? Essentially, we give deep sleep, deep work, and eating time recommendations based on your personal chronotype. How do we chronotype people? Well, there's a gold standard questionnaire called the Morningness Eveningness Questionnaire. It's actually a 19-question survey. We have the reduced form, which the CDC has used on night shift work studies. It's called the RMEQ. It's only 5 questions long, and it only takes about less than a minute to answer. And we'll show you how it's done here. So we're going to chronotype Sophia and Chloe today and kind of walk through the deep sleep, deep work, and mealtime recommendations in the context of a busy 24-hour student kind of study, work, and hopefully socialize and go to the gym once in a while lifestyle. So Sophia, we'll start with you. We kind of talked about this earlier, but what's kind of the busiest day of the week for you usually at school?
I think for me it would be Thursday.
Thursday? Okay. And so then what are kind of the main blocks of activity for you on a typical Thursday?
So the main thing is my class at 11. So I would probably wake up at 9:45.
Okay, so we have class at 11. And how long is the class?
Until 2.
Until 2. And you said you usually wake up at 9:45.
Yep.
All right. Any particular sleep icon you want to use? Or just which one do you usually use?
We use this one.
The moon?
Moon.
Okay, cool. And then are you in bed by midnight, or is it usually sometime after?
Sometime after, probably like 2 a.m.
2 a.m. Okay. So the first thing that we should do that we haven't done yet is chronotype you, so we can kind of get a recommendation for your deep sleep, deep work, and mealtime recommendations. So what we'll do is go into settings, and we're going to update the body clock type for you. So let's take the quiz. And again, this is the reduced morningness eveningness questionnaire. It's only 5 questions long. So we'll take the quiz here, and I'll let you just go through and answer the questions. And maybe just read them out loud so the audience can follow.
So the first question is, if you were free to choose, when would you get up? And so there's before sunrise, during sunrise, and after sunrise. And I think after sunrise for me. The next one is, when do you feel tired enough to sleep? And I think for me it's after midnight. And what time do you feel most energetic? I think probably for me it's the afternoon. And how do you feel 30 minutes after waking up? I feel just kind of neutral. And lastly, would you say you're more of a morning or evening person? And I think I'm more maybe evening.
Okay, so you're a peace lily, which is a moderate evening type in terms of the traditional definitions. So now if we go back and just look at the windows themselves, so here, if you are going to sleep at 2 a.m., you're just catching the tail end of your deep sleep interval. And then it looks like class time, if we go back to the activity view, is that overlapping with your focus period? It is. So I guess what class is that you have during that interval?
It's chemistry lab.
Chemistry lab. Is it inorganic or organic? Chemistry?
Inorganic.
Inorganic. So you probably need all those brain cells for inorganic. They're both hard. Okay, so then now we're kind of looking at meal times here, right? In the context of waking up at 9:45, starting class at 11. We're hoping that there's some kind of, at minimum, snack interval. So what are you usually doing to kind of fuel into that first kind of deep work lab period?
So obviously I have to get ready.
Okay, so that takes precedence. Maybe we can just use like a hairbrush Okay, so we're gonna plan getting ready when you wake up, and usually about how long does that take?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay. And then at some point you probably have to walk to class, right?
Yeah.
How long does that take?
Around 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. So in between those two things, are you able to grab snack usually, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably breakfast.
is it coffee centered, or what is kind of your go-to?
If I have more time, probably more like eggs.
Eggs, okay.
Or sometimes if I don't have time, I either skip it or just like eat like a fruit.
What do you think is more typical, eggs or fruit?
Fruit.
Fruit, okay, fair enough. All right, so that's kind of what maybe your morning looks like. And then I'm just curious, are you eating that on the go, or are you kind of like sitting down for breakfast?
I'm sitting down.
You are? Okay. And then after 2 p.m., when your lab gets out, maybe, I think if I remember correctly, you have another class coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what time's that one?
It's 4 to 6.
4 to 6. So we can use this symbol again. And then now what class is it going to be?
It's physics lab.
Physics lab. Okay, so it's a big lab day. What are the other major blocks on Thursdays? So is there anything concrete going on during this interval?
Those are basically like my classes for the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then what are the major meal times then outside of that morning fruit?
Yeah, it'll be between my two classes. So like 2 to 4 or after 6.
Okay. And what's usually your biggest like calorie load?
I think probably after like 6.
After 6? Okay. And what's the typical meal look like?
It might be like dining hall food.
Okay. And would you say that's like right after class, or do you kind of have a gap in
Maybe
between?
like 30 minutes after class.
30 minutes, okay. And usually I'm guessing it's a social activity, you're with friends either before or after. So maybe would you guys hang out after for a while, or like what happens after dinner?
Yeah, probably just like hang out and relax.
Okay. And then I'm guessing homework has to fall in here somewhere, right? So when does that, when do you kind of hit the books again?
Yeah, probably after like hang out with my friends.
Okay. And I guess laptop is kind of the modern day equivalent of hitting the books, right? Do you try to stop at around midnight, or does it kind of go through until bedtime?
I do try to stop depending on like my next day's schedule.
Okay.
But it probably does go after midnight.
Okay. And then do you do anything to wind down before you actually go to sleep?
Not particularly.
No.
Well, like I scroll on my phone.
Okay, so maybe some social media, some YouTube, things like that. Okay, so I guess just to wrap this up, what is happening in this kind of 2 to 4 interval?
I'm either relaxing and I'll just like grab a quick like lunch.
Okay, so maybe a little bit relaxing, and then what's the lunch look like? What's the kind of the go-to?
Maybe a salad.
Salad? Okay. We can use that one. Is this a walking spell? Okay, so we can just put that in there. All right, so we have day in the life of Sophia on a typical Thursday. And then, for folks watching, this would be a good time for potential coaching intervention. We can also integrate Apple Health data. So this is on my device, so we don't have Sophia's actual sleep and physical activity patterns on here, but we could toggle Apple Health on. And then you can get a side-by-side view of what she's planning to do and what she's actually doing on a daily basis. So now you'll see my Apple Health data, but you get the idea there. That gets overlaid on. And critically, if we think that she's sacrificing some deep sleep as a peace lily, we could kind of coach Sophia to maybe try to wrap up the screens and homework, before midnight, for example. If Sophia did not have class, from 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. to 2, kind of blocking that deep work period, that would be an optimal like study time for, especially in for exam preparations, or if you have problem sets or homework. And then it looks like you're already following a time-restricted eating interval. The only thing we would say last is just make sure there's no heavy snacks going into, and especially past midnight, because we talked about before how melatonin actually inhibits insulin secretion from the pancreas, and so basically you predispose yourself to high blood sugar at night, and also having a lot of food in your esophagus and stomach, and then going horizontal can push that food back up the pipe and cause reflux disease. But essentially what we're doing here is helping Sophia think through her day and offering an opportunity for feedback and some guidance through these circadian windows so she can kind of see her daily lifestyle side by side with what we would recommend from a lifestyle medicine and circadian biology perspective. If there were any pain points that, you kind of mentioned Thursday is kind of your toughest day. Obviously you have the 2 labs and then you're going, late at night with your homework. But is there anything that kind of acute or kind of pressing that you're hoping to solve, in the future around the schedule?
Maybe if I could, utilize my work times in the mornings.
So kind of shift maybe this especially this midnight to 1 a.m. kind of study interval to maybe before brushing your teeth or shortly after and before I think critically before your chemistry lab. Have you thought about how you would do that if you were going to try to do that?
Maybe waking up a little earlier.
Okay. And so we can talk about that, what those steps would look like. It usually does start the night before. And so it's mostly about, shutting down the lights and taking advantage of this deep sleep interval that's probably happening before you're actually going to bed. And then getting you restful enough that you actually have the energy to wake up earlier and you're motivated to do so. Okay, so Chloe, you're up next. All right, so we'll go to a blank day, start from scratch. And first, we'll start with your chronotype. So let's go back into settings and pop open the quiz. Okay, and just, if you don't mind, just kind of reading out the questions as you go through.
If you were free to choose, when would you get up? Preferably, I think I'd want to get up during sunrise just so that I could take advantage of that view that I have from my dorm.
Okay, nice.
And when do you feel tired enough to sleep? Unfortunately, after midnight. What time do you feel most energetic? Probably during the afternoon. And how do you feel 30 minutes after waking up? I feel refreshed at that point. And would you say you are a morning or evening person? Probably evening, more so than morning.
Cool. Okay, hibiscus. So you're kind of in the intermediate category. And so just a reminder, so there's 5 different chronotypes. There's definite morning, moderate morning, intermediate, moderate evening, and definite evening. Most college students usually end up being in the evening chronotypes. And intermediate is actually where most people are. So 60 to 70% of the population is in the intermediate category. So now we have these recommendations, which are adjusted. You might remember that Sophia's deep sleep interval started at midnight. Yours starts actually a bit earlier. And then your focus period is also advanced, as well as your recommended eating window. The eating window, we do default to 12 hours. That's kind of the standard chronobiology recommendation. A lot of the human studies on time-restricted eating have gone down to 8-hour intervals. I think 10 hours is also a popular recommendation. So the next release will allow you to adjust your eating window and also be more flexible with the start time if you wanted to eat your breakfast later, for example. So meanwhile, we have the default 12-hour recommendation. So what's the busiest day of the week for you at school?
Mine is Friday.
Friday, okay. That's too bad. Friday's usually supposed to be the fun day.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a combination of both.
Oh, okay, so you're balancing work and social. So that's good. That's going to be a good use case for us. So what are kind of the committed blocks, that you can't move? I'm guessing certain classes, for example.
Yes. So on Fridays, because I am well aware that I have earlier classes, I try to sleep a little bit earlier.
Okay.
So my night starts from around 11:30, where I just usually watch ASMR to help me sleep, and that takes about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
So I start sleeping around maybe as soon as it hits 11:50.
I'm trying to think of a good icon for ASMR. Something relaxing?
Yeah,
That's kind
I
of
like
relaxing.
that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, and so that's kind of like you said, 11:30 to midnight.
Yes.
Okay, that works. All right, and then so you're usually asleep by midnight.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay with the moon icon?
Yes.
Let's do that. And then I guess what time are you waking up then?
I wake up around 7:15.
Okay. All right. And then what's that first early class that you have to head?
I have to take my chemistry discussion, which is
Okay.
at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. So we title this here. Oops. Chemistry. Okay. And is it 1 hour?
It's 8 to 8:50.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
so
works.
basically an hour.
Okay. And I guess maybe we'll just try to figure out if you're squeezing in breakfast or having coffee after, or do you do caffeine or no?
In the morning, I try to drink like tea,
Okay.
hot tea.
Yeah.
So it takes me about 20 minutes to get ready,
Okay.
and drinking tea is like 5 minutes, and getting to class is like 5 minutes because it's right in front of my building.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
So you pretty much get ready, get some tea, and you're at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then what other classes do you have?
So right after my chemistry discussion, I have my chemistry class,
Okay.
and it's the building right next door. So
Oh, okay.
it's minimal walking.
So we'll probably just
Yeah.
call it chemistry, and then is that another hour long essentially?
Yes.
Okay. And so now, biologically, you would be heading into kind of a deep focus period if you did have exams to study for or homework to do. But is it blocked out with class, or how does the schedule actually look?
It's actually a combination of both,
Okay.
because right after chemistry class, I have my volunteer at the Triton Food
Oh.
Pantry. So that's from 10
Okay.
to 11.
From 10 to 11.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wow. So that's a busy morning.
Yeah.
So you have your volunteer. And are you getting a solid breakfast hopefully soon, or is that still pending?
It'll come up.
Okay.
So after that, I have a class at 1.
Oh, wow. Okay, at 1. Okay.
Yes. So at this point, I have a little bit of a break in
There you go.
between.
Mhm.
So during this time, since I'm too lazy to head back to the dorm, I normally go to the Price Center, and this is when I would just maybe grab like a bagel
Okay.
and study during that time.
Okay. Let's get you a bagel, because, I'm feeling hungry just looking at your schedule. There's a bagel. Perfect. Get that on there. And so from volunteer to bagel, is that fair to say?
Yes, and normally they give food out too,
Oh, okay.
because that's the whole point of the pantry. So I grab a bagel from there,
Okay.
I eat that, and then I study.
And then you study.
Yeah, I do. I get some work done.
And then straight until your 1 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And then what's the 1 p.m. class?
I have a CogSci, so cognitive class.
Cog-Sci.
hmm
Cool. And then what's the rest of your class schedule look like?
And after that, I don't have any more classes
Okay.
from that day, but I do have office hours for my bio class because I'm an IA. So
Oh,
that
nice.
goes from about right after, so 2 to 3:15,
Okay.
just because I like having a little bit of a,
These are office hours. Let's call OH. Cool. And then are you free for the day after that?
Yes. So
Unless we have a meeting, right? Sometimes we have meetings
Yeah, that's true.
at 4. But
so
okay.
that does come up
Okay.
next.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
let's give us credit for that meeting. And what's a good icon for that? Since we think globally, we'll use the globe. So 4 p.m. and then I think we're usually done by, is it 5:30? Oh no, like 5.
It's 5:30.
5. Oh, 5:30? Okay, okay. So there's your TGIF right there, right? It's a lot of yellow, a lot of work, a lot of study. And then I think when you're done though, you're usually done.
Yes.
Okay, at 5:30. And so then I guess just looking at your schedule, so I'm guessing most of your calories are coming at dinner because you haven't had much so far. And what time usually are you having dinner?
I try to eat around 6:30.
Okay. And is that usually with friends?
Yeah.
And is most of the social stuff happening before or after, would you
It's
say?
after.
After?
Yes.
And then, well, it's Friday, so does this keep going? Or
Yeah. I would say that on Fridays, the night starts around like 8.
Okay,
And then it goes on to about maybe 2.
okay.
But just for the sake of this, we can end it up, around there.
Okay, and then you're ASMRing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. And then these gaps, are these walking intervals, or is anything special happening in between?
Yes, so normally in between the office hours and meeting period, I'm walking over just because the campus is so big and it takes about 20 minutes. And then after the meeting, I'm also heading back to my dorm, maybe picking up some food on the way.
Okay.
And then after eating, that's my social time where I just hang out with my suite mates, and then we start convincing each other, okay, we really got to start getting ready now, and then we head out.
So there's a getting ready period.
Yes.
I give you an icon for that.
That's really short. Getting ready takes about 20 minutes.
Okay, we'll extend it out. There we go. Okay, so this is a day in the life of Chloe on a Friday. Does this look about right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you do have some pretty intense back-to-back work schedules going on. We used red for the volunteer, but that can also be, considered work. So I guess what are the most kind of acute pain points for you when you kind of think about your Friday? Like, is there anything that you're trying to solve and improve upon, or is it just getting through the day and you feel like you have a formula for that?
Honestly, on my Fridays, even though it is a bit hectic compared to the rest of the days, I feel really satisfied with myself just because I normally don't wake up as early as 7 a.m. I try to wake up around 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like a better person, and I feel like I'm being active.
You're getting more done.
Yeah, and this is the day I also hit 25,000 steps.
Oh
so
my God,
I feel like I'm really on top of it.
So if we were tracking your actual health, we would see a lot of orange in the interior ring. One thing that came up on both your schedules, and I think it's kind of typical, not just for student life, but frankly, most American lifestyles, is we kind of load most of our calories in the evening. There's a lot of circadian research that suggests we're better off loading more calories in the early hours because, essentially we utilize those calories during the day when we're active, walking, thinking, and basically, living our daily lifestyles. Whereas if we kind of train our bodies to accumulate a lot of calories at nighttime, that's right before we go to sleep. And so we don't metabolize, food as well, especially since our gut is really trained to go into rest mode during the nighttime. It's not actively digesting the way it would during the daytime. I mean, just a simple gravity of walking, for example, can actually promote peristalsis, the movement of the gut, and kind of help metabolize food. And so when we're lying flat, it just makes it harder for the body to digest food. So it's just a tip, when we're thinking about ways to improve, both the schedules we saw today. A lot of the calories are being loaded in the evening. The more that we can front load those calories, typically the better, so it's just something to think about. But I guess in terms of productivity or grades, do you kind of think that maybe there's something that you would do differently in terms of organizing your classes? I guess they're kind of, a lot of your activities are back to back to back. Do you recommend, if there was an incoming freshman, for example, that they stagger them out more, or do you kind of like having sort of a consolidated block of school and maybe the rest of the days are a little bit more free?
So I would recommend just having an overall balance throughout the week, just because obviously I have a really busy schedule on Friday, but mine is very inconsistent just because Monday is empty.
Right.
So it's 0 to 100. So there's that inconsistency, and my body's not really used to it, and it does take a couple of days for me to just pop back and be refreshed. So obviously, if you have the choice, make smarter decisions. Don't put it back to back. But in the meantime, if it happens, it happens. It's doable. It's okay.
Well, I'm sure on Mondays you appreciate.
Yes, I do, especially because it's Saturday,
right,
Sunday, and I go out a lot on the weekends, take advantage of San Diego. So Mondays I feel very nice. But I like that, it makes me feel like I earned that time to just relax.
If you are going to have a busy day, there's something about having it on Friday where the next day is the weekend, so that's cool. All right, well, so you saw two different examples of how we can use Owaves' new recommendations to help optimize your daily schedule. Obviously, in a student's life, there might not be a ton of flexibility, but there might be some. And obviously, we chose the heaviest days for both Sophia and Chloe. So on the other days, there might be even more flexibility to tailor schedules according to recommended deep sleep, deep work, and the eating times. So thanks both for sharing a little bit about yourself, and I hope you got something out of it, and please do try it out. So this video will probably come with a promotion code somewhere, so you can try it out yourself for a month, and maybe give it to someone you care about, especially those in school living busy college lifestyles.